Hi, I'm Taylor Haase. This is Danny Shirey. We are coming to you from PPG Paints Arena, where the Penguins just played their second game of the season. So when we were here last game and we were breaking down that game, the win over the Coyotes, we had all the caveats like, okay, it was the Arizona State Coyotes. Obviously, they're in the race for Bedard and the first pick. This was the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they won 6-2. Danny, just what were your impressions of this game?
Yeah, I mean, there is still the caveat here that the Lightning did play the night before against the Blue Jackets, and the other caveat that this Lightning team might not be as skilled as previous Lightning teams or the past three that have made it to the Stanley Cup final.
And it was Brian Elliott.
Yeah, and Brian Elliott was in goal, but regardless of who was in goal or even the Lightning playing last night, the Penguins really dominated, especially as things went on. But what has really just stood out to me is how cohesive the entire lineup has been. Obviously, there's going to be some miscues and some reads that don't really go your way, but I feel like they've kind of accelerated the beginning of season process that you see a lot of teams go through early on, where they're still kind of feeling things out, and I think that just kind of helps because this team has, outside of new additions in Jeff Petrie and a couple of guys on the fourth line, a lot of these guys played together last year, so that might have helped them jump over a little bit of that learning curve early on. But I'm just blown away by the way they've come out of the gates here early on. Obviously, Sidney Crosby has back-to-back three-point performances to start his season. He's currently tied for the league lead in points with Artemi Panarin, and I'm also just enthralled with the way that Chris Letang is playing right now. Obviously, we know what he's capable of offensively, but I think his defensive game has been outstanding in these first two games, especially here tonight against the Lightning's top guys.
Yeah, and I mean, just going back to the forward group, I know when I did my preview, if you were to look at any of those forward lines and pick out a weak spot, I think a lot of us thought it would be the third line, just Jeff Carter. Kapanen's coming off a bad season. You're not sure which Danton Heinen you're going to get. I don't have any concerns with the third line, at least through these two games that we've seen. I mean, they all have goals so far. Kapanen has been, I think, the biggest pleasant surprise in both of these games, where he has 2 points. He had a goal last game in this game, but he's just getting so many more chances, and that's. If you go back to last season when he was having a bad year, it's not just that it wasn't going in for him, the goals weren't going in for him. He also just wasn't getting shots, opportunities, but we are seeing a whole lot more of that from him.
Yeah, no doubt. And he kind of started to turn a corner a little bit during the Rangers playoff series, and Mike Sullivan really said he's really using his speed to his advantage, which was something that we didn't see much of throughout the regular season. And even though he didn't find the back of the net, and that's really all that matters here, especially during the postseason. But I think we're really starting to see that carry over, and if you can do those things consistently, the puck's going to end up in the back of the net for you sometimes. So obviously, he scored against the Coyotes the other night. He had a great assist on Carter's goal tonight, and I am still a little worried about how an 82-game season might wear on a guy like Carter, especially if they're going to continue to use him on special teams and keep him at center. But at least these first two games, I have not seen much to be concerned about with that third line.
Yeah, and we're in the bottom six, might as well stick with it. The fourth line, haven't been quite as impressed with the fourth line so far. I mean, Josh Archibald had a really good preseason. He stood out. We haven't seen that quite so much in these two games. I mean, they really do just need Teddy Blueger back. Ryan Poehling, I thought he had a fine season too, and he hasn't been terrible, but I mean, he's no Teddy Blueger, and the penalty kill especially needs Teddy Blueger back.
Yeah, I think the fourth line, and I got chastised on Twitter a little bit for saying that I was unimpressed with what they've done after 4 periods, because 4 periods is the perfect sample size to base your opinion off of. But I think that line really lacks. I hesitate to call Teddy Blueger a play driver because he is a fourth line center, but he's just so good defensively that it helps you keep up ice a little bit more, right? And with Ryan Poehling in the middle, I really like some of the qualities and attributes that he brings to the table, but I don't see him as much of a guy that's going to drive play or even really work the puck through transition. And Brock McGinn and Josh Archibald aren't those kind of wingers either. McGinn's a guy who, really his the most value I see in him is his work on the penalty kill and his finishing ability. But to be able to finish, you got to have somebody setting you up in the offensive zone. So he does have a little bit of value when he can kind of find those soft spots in the offensive zone. And Archibald, he's an energy guy. He's running around out there skating hard and hitting people, but he's not going to carry the puck end to end. So I think that line's really just missing something right now that hopefully Bluger, when he gets back, can kind of solve some of those issues.
Yeah, we do have to mention the Penguins did honor Dejan Haase prior to tonight's game. Just a really cool ceremony. Dejan Haase, he had been with the Penguins since 2006, worked in professional hockey for 33 years. Those guys, they just put in crazy hours. Good to see him get his night. I thought the gifts were kind of funny. So they gave him a trip to Florida, but Dejan Haase, he's a huge Boston Red Sox fan, and they gave him a guest invitation to be an equipment manager for the Red Sox during spring training. I just thought that was really cool. I think they really do these pregame ceremonies right here.
Yeah, no doubt. It was kind of funny though, because just watching it, because obviously they bring both teams out on the ice for these ceremonies, and I'm just sitting there thinking like, oh, the Lightning are sitting there watching. They're like, we're sitting here waiting for the game to start for an equipment manager, but obviously if anybody's deserving, it's Dejan Haase.
Yeah, for sure. The Penguins, their next game is on the road in Montreal. I'll be there. I'll be eating my weight in poutine, so really looking forward to that and getting on the road. We'll have your coverage of this game and the rest of the season over at DK Pittsburgh Sports, so just stay tuned for that.